How do you know if you're ready to date after a toxic relationship? If you've been in one, you've probably asked yourself this question or are in the process of asking yourself this question right now. And so today I'm going to answer a question from a viewer. And she asks, how do you know you're ready to date after narcissistic abuse? We've been living apart for 2 years and the divorce is taking forever. I'm wondering how I'll know that I'm ready. I've done a lot of healing and therapy. Okay, so the kind of answer here is, well, you'll know. You'll know. There is an intuitive feeling that you will experience when you know, okay, it's time to start at least thinking about dating again. That being said, there are a lot of disclaimers here, and I'm going to talk about these in the video here. We can sometimes think that we're ready way before we're actually ready. How do I know? Because I did this in the past. When I was separated and going through my divorce, I thought I was going to be ready immediately. And I pretty much jumped into dating right after we got separated. Was that the best idea? No. Was that smart? No. It's not what I would do today, and it's not what I would recommend anyone do today. But that's what I did because I thought I was ready. I wasn't actually ready. There were some things that I realized in hindsight that I could have spotted and said, ooh, okay, yeah, I am not actually really ready. So how do we know if we're not truly ready? Well, one of the things that I realized made me not actually truly ready when I was jumping into my relationships very quickly was because I was actually feeling ready because I was afraid of being alone. So if there is a fear, and maybe we're not even conscious of it in the moment, but if there's any sense when you think about your future and not being with your ex anymore, and you think, oh my God, I can't handle this. I can't do this. I'm actually really scared. And that's why you're jumping into a relationship very quickly. You're not truly ready. Because what this does when we jump into a relationship very quickly after getting out of a toxic relationship is we don't take any time to heal. We don't take any time to learn what happened, what got us into that relationship in the first place, and what we need to do differently. So when I was jumping straight out of my marriage into another relationship, guess what kind of relationship that was? That was an abusive relationship because I did not take the time to learn anything about myself or about relationships. I didn't know what was healthy, what wasn't. I didn't even really know what abuse was other than just physical abuse. That's really mostly what I knew. And so when we don't take that time, we don't have our eyes wide open in our next relationship and we miss a lot of stuff. If we're rushing in and not taking that time to heal and decompress and learn about relationships, it's highly likely we're going to get right back into another bad relationship because we're not going to see the red flags. We're just taking really what we can get in that moment because we're so terrified of being alone. And so something that I had to do was to face my fear of being alone after those breakups. It was tough. It was not easy, but it was so necessary because then I could get to the point where I could be discerning. I wasn't so afraid of being alone. I was okay on my own. Then if someone wasn't showing up in the way I wanted them to, bye. I don't need you in my life right now. I'm okay on my own. I can be really selective as to who I'm going to let into my world. So another sign that we're not truly ready to start dating again after a toxic relationship is if we're trying to avoid feeling the pain of our original breakup by getting into another relationship. So if we're really in the place where it's I just don't want to feel this stuff. I don't want to feel bad about it. I just want to move on. I'd say, no, you're probably not ready because all you're really doing then is you're just putting a Band-Aid on that pain and you're actually not going to be fully emotionally available to this new partner. And people who are healthy, they're going to be looking for people who are emotionally available, who aren't still kind of hung up on their ex or carrying around a lot of baggage about their ex. Not that we have to be completely and fully healed or fully over our ex, but at least to the point where we're not like actively and intensely grieving them. So if we're really trying to avoid going through that grieving process and feeling lonely, which loneliness is going to happen, if we're letting go of a toxic relationship, or if we're letting go of any relationship, there's going to be a grieving period. We are going to feel lonely at times. That's just the name of the game. It's that feeling like even when you're with somebody, or even when you're in like a room of people, you're still feeling lonely. That's because it's not actually about being alone amongst people. You're grieving the loss of a person, and that makes us feel very lonely. So if you're trying to avoid that by getting into another relationship, then you're probably not ready. And that again makes it more likely that you're going to get into another toxic relationship, because just like if you're afraid of being alone, you're probably not being very selective when it comes to your partners. You're kind of just in this place of like, ooh, good. Here's a nice warm body, and this way I don't have to feel the pain. So if we've been on our own for a while, and we've been feeling our feelings, we've been going through that grieving process of letting go of our ex, and we're feeling pretty good, like maybe not amazing or wonderful, but we're feeling okay, then we probably are getting ready to date. We don't have to feel amazing or wonderful to be ready, just to the place where you're like, all right, I'm good on my own here. Now, to the opposite extreme, if it's been years and we're feeling like we can never trust anyone again, I have no desire to be in a relationship, even though deep down we actually do want to, then that could be a sign that there's still more healing for us to do. So if this is you, click on the link in the description to my website. I can help. But what might be going on here is we might be carrying around a lot of emotional baggage from our past relationships. We may have some negative beliefs about ourselves, or just about relationships in general, like that we can't trust anyone, or everyone always leaves us. These are things that you can shift so that you get to the point where you are ready, or at least you feel more ready than you do today. Here's how you can tell if you're getting to the point where you're going to be ready to date soon. You start thinking a lot less about your ex. Not that you completely forget about them, but they're not so continuously on your mind like they probably were when you first started to break up. You feel like you're getting your life back. You feel like you're almost back to your old self, but you're wiser. Not that you're going to be the same, like you're going to go back to before you were ever in relationships. That's not what it looks like, but you at least feel like you're back to yourself. You have your essence of who you are back. Like you're a new, wiser version of the person that you used to be. That's a great sign. You know you're getting ready to date when you feel like you have some peace about your previous relationship. Again, not like you have to be 100% completely, totally over them, but you feel like, yeah, you know what? Okay, this thing happened and it's all right. I'm moving forward. The difference between not being totally ready and getting to this place looks like if you're out on a date and somebody asks you about your past relationship and you're just like, you feel completely overwhelmed, like you start crying. Not that crying is bad, but you're crying on the date and you have so many negative things to say about your ex. That's a sign that you're probably not ready. That pain is still very raw for you. Versus when you are starting to get ready, someone asks you about your ex and you say, yeah, it was a tough relationship, but I learned a lot. I'm in a good place now, and yeah, that's it. So notice the two different experiences there. The latter is the one where you're really starting to feel like, okay, I'm ready to date. I have some peace and some acceptance about what happened in my previous relationship. So again, you don't have to be completely and 100% over your ex, but you want to be over them enough so that you can at least be open to getting to know a new person. Getting to the place where you can focus your energy on the person in front of you and learning who they are, not to the place where you're still so focused on your ex. You can also start to date before you feel fully ready. This is what happened to me. I was actually waiting to feel 100% ready. I was waiting to feel like, all right, I am in just the best place ever. I'm so ready. And I happened to meet someone before I got to that point. But I was good enough. I was in that place where I'd been on my own for a while. I'd been doing my healing work. I've been feeling all the feels. And I was okay on my own. And so when someone came around, I was not totally 100% ready, but it worked because I was ready enough. And most importantly, I was ready because I wasn't avoiding anything. I hadn't been avoiding anything like I was in my past. I was, again, like feeling all the stuff. I was grieving. And so when someone came into my life, it was okay. There was room for them. But most importantly, if you're not sure about this, if you're not sure if you're ready to date, trust yourself. And to give some like kind of conflicting advice here, trust yourself, and also you can ask the people around you. Like if you have a good friend who knows your story, knows what you're going through, ask them, hey, do you think I'm ready to date? And they can give you their honest opinion. You can also ask a family member. You can ask one of your therapists, coaches, whoever you're working with. You can ask them if they feel like you're ready. They can give you their advice, but ultimately, you're the one who decides this. Ultimately, trust yourself. If you feel ready, go for it. If you don't, give it a little time. You might feel differently in a few weeks or a few months. And it can actually be really helpful to talk to a friend or a family member or a therapist, because they might be able to see something that you're not able to see. Like maybe you're thinking you're ready because you just got out of a relationship, but actually you're probably not ready. Your therapist or your friend or your family member, they might be able to see that and say, hey, actually, you're moving pretty quickly here. Maybe you're not quite ready yet. Or maybe they're seeing that you're still pretty emotional about the breakup, and they might say, you know what, you might be better off waiting just a couple more months before you go out there again. So if you've realized that you are ready to start dating and you want to know if the people that you're dating are fully ready for a relationship, meaning they're emotionally available, click here. I have a video for you. And click here to subscribe. I come out with new videos every single week on healing and breaking the cycle of toxic relationships so you can find real healthy love.